Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIII-2. I'm the Mysterious JG. Not sure exactly what possessed me to do it, but I did take a quick peek at the hardcover, perfect for reading on the toilet strategy guide for this game. And we may be getting ready to go into fairly close to get into a stretch where we lose our free roam around all the different side timelines that this game has. The most linear section of Final Fantasy XIII-2's plot is coming up. The thing about this game is, one of the many things about this game, I suppose. In some ways, it feels like a reaction against Final Fantasy XIII, because I sometimes feel like American fans' voices are completely unheard by Square Enix. And I have no charts or figures in front of me about how much of Square Enix's popularity is based on Japanese sales and whether American sales are, how core it is to their business. But I think in Japan and America, people noticed Final Fantasy XIII, the entire game was one long corridor and you ran in one direction and you used autoplay for the vast majority of the battles. It was a big, long cinematic movie. We never really had any control or say over much of anything. And people were like, oh, wow, let's go back to Final Fantasy XII, with or without Zodiac Age, where you were running around out in big open fields, like a happy little puppy. So this game tried to give you, okay, there's branching paths, and even though there's really only one story path, and all these branching areas are more like side areas you can go to for side quests and stuff, it's still a big departure. And then when we get to Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13-3, whatever it's actually called, that game is just strange, man. You've essentially got 3 or 4 main stories that you can play in any order. Well, there's a story at the very end that has to be played at the end, but the other stories leading up to it can be played in any order, and that's a strange game. But we're not there yet, so let's go into, as I said, I believe we're about to head into the most linear section of a game that I think is consciously trying not to be that linear, Final Fantasy XIII-2. It's certainly not Final Fantasy X-2. Just 90% ridiculous side games. But it is something. We should actually have a new intro video here, which is why I didn't load my game.
Final Fantasy XIII-2, the story so far.
Thanks, Yule, for being less mysterious than usual.
Is that you? I won't let you go.
It seems like we've known about Hope for a long time now, but we're only now getting to him being in these intro videos. Because we had to get to the point where the Monster Seath guys showed up. And we're in a new story act. The game is roughly divided into 7 acts, I guess. And now we're in Act 4, I think. So we could go hang around in Academia. There's apparently 13 fragments to be gotten. That seems crazy. But if we were to continue the main story, there's really only one way to go, and that's to Augusta Tower 200 as fuck.
Augusta Tower is the central information processing facility of the Academy. The entire edifice is occupied by the machinery of an artificial intelligence that possesses unprecedented processing power. It also houses the Proto-Fal'Cie project, an ambitious plan to create a man-made Fal'Cie. Here, too, is recorded the forbidden history, although no human survives to remember it.
So, and again, remember, Hope is like a little kid in Sarah's home timeline, and you jump forward 10 years or whatever, and he's sort of a young adult. This is 200 as fuck, so Hope and what's-her-face, Alyssa, have to be dead of old age at this point. So this is like whatever they set in motion, other generations have carried it forward. What is the forbidden history? Well, we don't know, except that the narrators told us no human knows about it, and apparently Caius wants to kill us because we know about it, but we're not sure that Caius is Caius because Yule said Caius wasn't in. It's confusing. Also, the handful of humans that we seem to encounter in the tower before were just kind of like weird robots or something. They weren't really acting like normal humans. And there was one human that we could have talked to in that room with the password puzzle, but I didn't notice him until the cinematics that we got when we successfully answered the password puzzle. So it's hard for us to say whether he would have been a normal human or not. Well, let's get back into it. Augusta, see, we have a lot of maps recycled from the last game. We just kind of run around out in random directions and do stuff. But the handful of maps that are brand new, which includes Augusta Tower, are much more structured like a traditional, oh, okay, here's an actual dungeon we're going to dungeon crawl through. We're going to do things in a certain sequence. Makes sense. So in a way, I'm excited to be here because it's like, hey, we've not actually seen this place before. Even if in terms of visual style, this could easily have been part of Orphan's Cradle or Eden, whatever. I'm not trying to get an upskirt shot, by the way. I'm just trying to see the ceiling. What is the button you use to switch? Here. Now I can look at the ceiling without creeping you guys out as much. Because Noah is wearing a much longer skirt. He's actually wearing pants. And I'm going to change back because I'm used to Sarah being the party leader. Alright. So there was a guy here and he's gone now. No longer interact with the terminals. I think that's what I was bouncing my head against at the end of the last video. It's like, okay, well, you said we could go anywhere, but we can't go through there, so what's up? Oh, story is up. Hey guys, what's up, man?
That was Caius, right?
So he is here. But is he the real Caius?
Dun dun dun. Guess we're meant to go over there and find out. Oh, well, let me jump into the, won't let me jump into the, abyss. James Vandenberg prevents it. Yeah, I saw one of these before. I thought I did, and it didn't let me do anything with it in that other zone. Or maybe it did. Oh, come on, man. This totally looks like I should be able to go over there. Okay, I guess not. Well, let's advance the story by getting close to this exclamation point.
There he is. Now we grab him and find out if he's the real deal.
Bill McNeil?
We have to be careful. This could be a trap.
So now we're on the other side of the door I couldn't open before. And I still can't open it.
There must be some way we can get across this. If Caius did it, so can we.
Yeah, that follows.
Why don't we just try the switch?
I guess I'm waiting to hear the dialogue play out. Another 30 seconds and Noel goes, yes, let's try the switch. Oh, my bitches are switches.
The circuits are tangled with another age, Kupo.
It's being jammed by a
Oh,
paradox.
you haven't talked in a while there, Mog. I kind of forgot you could talk.
It with a key from another time.
Kupo.
Koopa like aloha. It means yes, no, hello, goodbye. Malfunctioning switch is preventing you from traveling further into Augusta Tower. You need the Augusta Tower access key 50 to solve the paradox that is causing the malfunction. This item can be found in a different era. Return to the story crux and search for the necessary access key another time. There's a gate in a different space-time that can be opened using a wild artifact. Check all the gate icons in the story crux and search for not as yet unlocked crystal gates. Well, there's also a gate down. I saw a gate down there. Can we just jump to that? I feel like I should be able to jump down there and just do a quick save in case I fail the jump. Well, I mean, I was just about to manually walk towards the next, towards the story crux, but there's actually, or towards the gate that we used to get here. There's actually, we don't actually need to do that. I can just jump hit there from the menu. Yes, I wish to return to the Historia Crux. Of course I do, game. What else would I want to do? So, it could be at Yashas Massif, but I'm pretty sure that's an optional, like completely optional zone. Arcalite Steps, year unknown, has a gate we haven't used yet. That could be it. Because I have this vague notion that I know which of these ones are. I'm pretty sure this is not optional. And coming back here would give us a chance to check in with Hope. This place doesn't have any gates at all. So there's a gate we haven't explored in Yasif Mashif. 10x as fuck. There's Arcalite Step has a gate. And Yasif Mashif 100 as fuck. But I believe this is 100% optional. So I think the logical place to try would be Yasif Mashif 10x as fuck. And if it's not here, then we can go to the Arcalite Step.
Frozen in crystal. Sarah and Noel return from Erba to find that...
Alright, so we're coming back here. It doesn't seem to have a new intro. Boy, can you imagine if the gate that gets us to Augusta Tower at a different time is later in the story and we can't get there? The game would be unwinnable. It would be a paradox. You have to carefully construct where your different time gates are to make it possible to navigate them properly. Oh, retrieve the fruit of Fenrir? Why is that a... Oh, that's a side quest deal. Well, wait a second. I don't see anything mapped. I don't see anything marked as though it's a gate that we haven't explored. Alright, so this could be a waste of time, but... Oh, we got 81 Greenshaw Greens. Who am I kidding? And, unlike the wild chocobos, or the, you know, the punk-ass chocobos, or whatever they're called, the ones with the rock and theme music, who are a constant drain to your Greenshaw Greens, this is one Greenshaw Green, and we don't have to frickin'... Okay, now stay put. Okay, apparently this is one we hadn't used before. Although I think it's a specific story-required artifact and not just any wild artifact. So I'm not real sure about this. But nope. I guess a Tower 300 as fuck. I guess this was it. Should I have spoken to Hope and What's-Her-Face while I was here? I don't know. I thought the wild artifacts usually opened up optional zones. Because I had a bunch in reserve. I guess I just never got around to using one here. I feel like somehow if we tried to come here before the story wanted us to, we would have been prevented. And I don't remember exactly why. But at any rate, there's only one fragment here, so...
13 AF. The Academy built the Augusta Tower as a central information processing facility with an enormous artificial intelligence at its core. But now, centuries in the future, the system has suddenly begun to run amok. Somehow,
Judgment
the
Day.
network system was attacked from somewhere in the future. When the Academy tried to respond and shut down the system, it was too late. The AI had already taken control of much of the Academy.
Okay. So the plot is finally starting to form up a little bit here. We've been kind of wondering, like, what is the main threat? Caius, maybe, but now there's some kind of future force. Hey, it's Future Force. It's David Carradine. There's some kind of future evil that's reaching through time to attack.
Two entities from different times cannot coexist.
Republicans and Democrats.
If this were to occur, history would be infused with contradictions. This would lead to a distortion causing the entire world to collapse. The subjects require further analysis. Hypothesis. Their existence has initiated a distortion in history.
Oh, so Sarah and Noel's friendship has doomed us all?
I'm not very good with all this fancy machinery. What's going on here exactly?
The system that controls this facility is...
I was going to answer him, Kupo. Give me a chance to talk, Kupo.
Whoever they are, they're trying to use the network in an attempt to override the system somehow.
So basically, some bad guy snuck in and took over the tower? Well, there's an easy solution for that.
Destroy the tower.
Find him and solve this whole problem. Case closed.
The security system's been hacked too, so the security bots are just pieces of metal. And
Well,
I don't
weren't they
think
always
the person
pieces of
behind
metal?
This is actually physically here.
So you're a dumbass and your plan won't work.
It seems like the culprit isn't even in this time at all.
How is she figuring all this out?
They're accessing the system from somewhere in the future.
The future, Conan?
Lucky for us, we have the means to get there. Let's give them a piece of our minds. Come on.
But I thought we had to get a thing and go to a different time. The future paradox has infested the Augusta Tower of 300 as fuck, turning its chambers and passages into a confusing maze. Restore the rooms to their correct positions and resolve the anomaly. So this is very much one of those games where if you just play the game and have fun and enjoy yourself and don't sit there with taking notes about all the dialogue, you'll never understand what the fuck's going on. There are videos, like, there's this one guy who, I swear to God, he must be editing, he must be speaking 2 or 3 sentences at a time and then editing together to remove all natural pauses or breaths, because it just is, he's the vocal equivalent of a wall of text, but he does explain what it, like in the video titles, or what is Final Fantasy 13, what is Final Fantasy 13-2, but he zips through and goes through the stories in a way that generally you can kind of make sense of, although sometimes he's talking so fast and some of the story beats are kind of ridiculous, so he glosses over the ones that really stand out as not making sense. But yeah, at any point, you can go watch those videos to figure out what's happening. Because I watched one before starting the LP, and it gave me a general overview of what the story's trying to get at without actually remembering the details by the time I'm recording. So at this point, it's like, okay, humans built this AI tower, and now some kind of force in the future has hacked into the tower. And I think I know what that force is going to turn out to be, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to spoil it. But now we're hopping back and forth between 2 different periods in history of this tower. That part I'm not clear on why we're doing that. But eventually we have to figure out what has hacked the AI core and created a future city where people are being turned into monsters to attack us. Although, honestly, it seemed like if we left that future city alone, everything was kind of fine, because they started turning people into monsters to get them to kill us. Otherwise, people were just kind of being taken care of. Like, I guess that's how Cocoon had worked. I don't know if it was a good thing, but I also don't know that the artificially created Fal'Cie was trying to destroy humanity like the real Fal'Cie were. So, I don't know. Bottom line is we've decided, hey, we need to get rid of the giant. We need to get rid of whatever force is turning people in the future city of Academia into monsters. That seems like kind of a just and noble goal. Meanwhile, if you look really carefully, it looks like there's a little Sarah. Like, you can't. I couldn't really tell what the scale was on this picture, but see, there's a tiny little Sarah there in the bottom left-hand corner. All right.
We should flip the switch.
What is this red stuff in the foreground? Are we supposed to be watching from the point of view of whatever the AI entities? Because the AI entity came in and dropped some commentary. It appears to be monitoring their actions. Are we watching through its perspective? Not 100% clear if the AI is good or evil, but it's definitely... Revolving rooms. Augusta Tower is turned into a paradoxical maze. Use the switches to rotate the rooms to make your way through the tower. Doesn't seem that paradoxical. Connecting the open doors to passages. Open the path before you. Learn which switches move which rooms in order to progress. Oh, this is the one that we came in through. That would make sense, JG. This looks like a artificial time gate, like a constructed version of what that is. Are we going to find out that the time gates are constructed by the AI? That might be what we're going to find out, folks. Singular sensation, every little move she makes. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Can I turn it back around? I'm wondering if we could have gone on the outer rim of this thing had I started doing some exploring before hitting this console, but it doesn't look like I can switch it. So, remember, folks, 1. 1. We'll probably get over there in the fullness of time, but why wait? Open the chest. There you go. Couldn't tell exactly where he landed with respect to it. 800 gil. Homeru. 800 gil, not a whole lot of money at this point since we have 720,000, but... Oh. If you're not using a bunch of DLC creatures, these monsters are supposed to be... Well, maybe it's not these ones specifically. There's those monsters we encountered in the previous game, which are like these big flans where they have like helmets on with little alarms that are actually pretty valuable as monster companions because they're medics with decent physical damage resist because they're also flan. Yeah, just deal. This is a game mechanic. I didn't create it. We got mana slivers. Cold mana sliver, you'll be joining us soon.
It's here, Kupo.
And if it's not, we're throwing you off the roof.
Kupo!
I'm kidding. When we get to Valhalla, you'll be with us, Mom.
Whoa. I'm kidding. We're not going to throw you off the roof. We are going to take you to the Viking afterlife, though. That kind of suggests you are going to throw him off the roof. I mean, it's like, oh, Mog, we wouldn't do anything wrong with you. We're just going to send you to the Viking afterlife. I'm like, wait, what? Well, you guys could tell me if this would be more or less interesting if all the generic combat wasn't rendered moot by the fact that I'm using a DLC commando and have fully leveled everyone up, but there'll be super bosses for whom combat is a lot more interesting. And by a lot more interesting, I mean potentially somewhat interesting. Two, they say. I guess I'll fight these guys as long as I don't have one of them as a monster crystal. They're going to make monster bubbles. No idea what monster bubbles are. I would say a line from Mystery Science Theater. Mighty Jack to be specific, but I have no idea what monster bubbles are. Okay, so these are the creatures that are apparently actually vaguely valuable. Like if you're just playing the game straight up without having used DLC to get better stuff than you should be able to get, you would really be excited about capturing a Flanator, I think they're called. None of the DLC things you get are medics, but... Noel or somebody was talking about how they think that's really ridiculous that all this is caused by one person's hacksaws. I guess I don't know what the tower is supposed to be like when it's not hacksaw. That's why it's tough for me to be like, oh my god, the changes are so dramatic. I have no idea what this place is like without hacksaws.
The future is bright.
I gotta wear shades. The future will be bright if we can ever get rid of the Reapers. Brighter than the past, because the Protheans, as it turns out, were assholes.
Can it go any
Rotate
further?
the room so the door's in the correct position. Oh, I see. That doesn't actually... Yeah, this is a really complicated puzzle game. Really complicated puzzle here. With Noel even like freaking explaining it to us as we go. Like if you by some chance you couldn't get it for yourself, Noel basically tells you hit the button again. Circuit device in the middle of the room serves as an elevator. I hope it's not like the elevator in Planetfall. Or Stationfall, excuse me. Oh cool, now I can get to all the treasure chests that I already got using Moogle Throw. Just gotta make sure I get far enough to actually trigger map exploration. Flanborg, Flanborg. See, it's really hard to tell sometimes whether you've been given credit for full exploration. The problem is if I don't, like there, it's like, oh, I've already got the treasure chest, I'm not going to run all the way to that end of that corridor. There's just a chance that later I'll get stuck at 99%, and even though it looks filled in, the percent counter will not have considered this place fully explored. And I am realizing that I was fully in the right to use that Chocobo in that other area, because we would have been doing a whole bunch of other jobber monster encounters just to get to here. So there's a disembodied voice occasionally counting. I wonder if it'll count now. Wait a moment. Are you alive? More Mighty Jack for some reason. Is the boss about to fly out? No, wait. Oh, platform puzzles. Okay. That's what this game needed. Platform puzzles. What good RPG doesn't have platform puzzles?
Welcome one and all to Casa de Chocolina, the only store within goddess knows how many years.
Who's the goddess? No, whatever. They do have, like, if you care about that kind of thing, there is a whole pantheon of gods in the Nova Crystallis, I believe it is known, hierarchy of fictional, well, I mean, I suppose an atheist would argue all gods are fictional, but the gods of the Final Fantasy XIII continuum, they are all laid out and described. And they kind of matter to the plot of the last game. A little bit. Well, one of them does. Two of them do, I suppose I should say. They keep dropping the name Etro, and then the third game, Buna Velza, is going to be important, but, you know, whatever. I don't know which one she's talking about.
I'll have something extra special for you next time.
I don't know what that means.
Won't you buy a little something to remember me by?
Perhaps something Chocobo themed? Since that's kind of my deal. Alright.
I'll have something extra special.
Alright. I guess we're meant to interact with this thing. Except that you showed up and got in the way. I don't know if we've already captured these guys. I didn't think we had. Oh, there's an iron shell. That might be important.
Can it go any further?
Don't tell me what to do, man. I'm going to go in here and explore where it goes now. Which will be nowhere, I'm sure, but... Okay. Let's see if it goes any further. This is a real maze. It's like paradoxical, the way you have to hit a switch twice to open up the only path that could possibly go forward.
Perfect.
Yep, perfect. Alright, it's 3 of you assholes. Let's get a damn crystal. Thank you. We got a Flanborg crystal. I believe it was the other Flan The one with a, yeah, this is a Commando. The one that we care about, sort of, and I don't really care about it because I'm not going to use it, but the one that normally we would probably care about somewhat would be the one with the little protective helmet to stop it from injuring itself. That one. Alright, folks, this is going to be it for this video. When we come back, we will continue exploring this incredibly convoluted, paradoxical maze of places where you occasionally have to hit a switch. I'm Serious GG. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.